Welcome back. Now, the New York Times reports that federal officials are planning to sharply increase the production of ZMapp. Now, of course, that's the vaccine developed for Ebola by a very small pharmaceutical company in conjunction with the U.S. military and big pharma. It looks like they're going to get a lot more pharmaceutical companies involved on the profit making of this. They say that they're going to work with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Wellcome Trust. They're also arranging for production of ZMapp in animal cells. Right now, it's being produced in plant cells. They say, although that would take longer, it would allow for greater output by tapping into the biotechnology industry's huge production capacity. We're going with multiple manufacturers. Now, take a step back and remember that the ZMapp virus is something that is first developed by exposing mice to Ebola. Once they create some antibodies, they genetically modify those antibodies, then grow them in tobacco plants that are genetically modified. That creates what they call plantibodies that they then inject into the patients. So they directly put in quote unquote antibodies or plantibodies that are going to immediately confront the virus, as opposed to waiting for the body to build up its own immune system. Now, is this effective? It may sound creepy, it may sound scary, and I have severe concerns about the safety of this, but let's look at the efficacy of this. Now, when we first heard about ZMapp, it was headlines like this in the mainstream media. Experimental drug likely saved Ebola patients. Now, those patients were the two Americans who were brought back to Emory University, Dr. Kent Brantley and another aid worker who was working with Samaritan's Purse. We were told, and this is the narrative that we see in the CNN story, on Thursday, Dr. Kent Brantley thought he was going to die. It was 9th day since the American missionary worker came down sick with Ebola in Liberia. Then they talk about the miraculous recovery that he went through when he was given the ZMapp vaccine. But there was also another thing that they gave him that some other outlets reported. Newsweek reported that on the same day, he got a blood transfusion. The headline there was the 20-year-old Ebola treatment that could save Kent Brantley. That actually preceded by a couple of days all the mainstream media accounts attributing the recovery to ZMapp. And what they have here is a quote from Franklin Graham, president of Samaritan's Purse. He said, on Thursday, Brantley was given a shot at survival. A 14-year-old male Ebola patient who had been under Brantley's care and survived donated a unit of blood to Brantley, according to Samaritan's Purse. The young boy and his family wanted to be able to help the doctor that had saved his life. Well, that's very interesting because even though they recovered, they got the blood transfusion as well as ZMapp, we had two other patients who were given ZMapp that died. I don't know if they were given any other treatment. I don't know if they were given a blood transfusion. We still have 3 who were given the ZMapp vaccine, and it is unclear what their condition is at the moment. So if you just look at those numbers, and there were only 7 treatments that were sent out before they ran out of supply of the ZMapp vaccine, it doesn't look like it's any better than what people are experiencing in terms of recovery rates without that vaccine. Since Dr. Brantley recovered, another American doctor, Dr. Richard Sacra, also came down with Ebola. He was given blood transfusion from Dr. Kent Brantley, who sent blood to him. They were both of the same type. And of course, for the blood transfusion to work, if you're going to have a transfusion that's going to grant you immunity, you need to have the same type of blood for a transfusion. But also, there are several different types of strains of Ebola. There's at least 5 strains of Ebola. It's not clear that if you have recovered from one strain of Ebola, that it's going to give you immunity to the other strains. Nevertheless, this doctor was given a blood transfusion. So it raises the question, does Dr. Kent Brantley think that he was cured by ZMapp? Or does he think that he was cured by the blood transfusion? Well, actually, he says that he was cured by God. That's where he stands on this. But we have to look at this and question whether or not ZMapp has been proven to be effective. But that's not stopping the medical industrial complex from gearing up to make a lot of money off of this vaccine, perhaps making it mandatory. That's my concern. That's many people's concern. Now, Dr. Sacra is being treated in Nebraska, the Nebraska Medical Center. They're also giving him another experimental drug. They're not saying what it is. They say it is not ZMapp. And this is what the doctor there had to say. He said, we don't know if this is having an effect at all. We just administered everything that we had access to, honestly, and he's not going to name the drug because he doesn't want to mislead the public into thinking it's a cure. That's something we don't see happening from the other side. Stay with us. Right after the break, we're going to look at a money laundering case. It's going to shed some light as to how differently people are treated depending on the quantity of money that they launder. Seems like the more money you launder, the easier they are on you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Darren McBreen, and here are some of today's top headlines breaking right now at Infowars.com. Experts say the Ebola virus can be transmitted at a distance from infected victims, and professors say health workers are being put at risk. In a piece published by ZMapp, the Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy, authors Dr. Lisa Brosen and Dr. Rachel Jones highlight how Ebola currently has unclear modes of transportation. The U.S. Army says ISIS is planning to kill families of soldiers. The latest purported threat jacking up the temperature in the ISIS war abroad and the PSYOP propaganda battle at home is a claim by the Pentagon that the Islamic State is now targeting U.S. soldiers' families in America. Russia and Iran have agreed to use their own national currencies in bilateral trade transactions, and they will boycott the U.S. dollar. This is yet another reaction to heavy Western sanctions placed on Russia by the United States. For more information on these stories, plus updates and breaking news as it happens, go to Infowars.com.
This is Alex Jones for InfoWarsLife.com. The latest in preparedness is now here. An electrically stabilized colloidal silver solution that can be added to both your home cabinet and preparedness pack alike. Concentrated to 30 parts per million in what has been dubbed the survival silver solution. The new InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver is the answer for you and your family. And it's entirely free of toxic artificial additives that are loaded into many products. The InfoWars Life Silver Bullet Silver is so powerful that it is concentrated into a 2-ounce bottle and is not recommended for extended continual use. This is not a low-grade formula. We are working with one of the top laboratory manufacturers in the United States to bring you the best form of colloidal silver using electrical processes within a base of deionized water for your preparedness storage or your home kitchen. Purchase your bottle of InfoWarsLife.com Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver today and find other amazing supplements at InfoWarsLife.com.